Well, here we are. Bitcoin has taken a tumble, and I do feel relevant to talk about what's happening right now. And I will be breaking this all down for you guys in this stream where I discuss the overall market. We'll take a dive into the bubbles, get talking about that because you can see for yourself, it's a sea of red. Never a fun time to be a trader rooting for the long angle within crypto, but I've actually found myself dabbling personally in the short side of things. So it's been kind of fun ride with the volatility, but still for my main bags and what I'm kind of being the crypto fanboy, if you will, it hasn't been the most rewarding for the long game, okay? But still have conviction with a lot of the cryptos that I do personally believe in. I'm going to share with you guys what's happening with Bitcoin right now because there are analysts that think that we are going to go lower. And there are a couple things in my personal viewpoint, my vantage point from doing this every day, from talking, from basically being 24/7 crypto orientated within my lifestyle. A couple things that did catch my eye, I do want to share with you guys. All right. So before we get into it, hit that like button, subscribe down below, join us. All right. And let's talk some crypto. All right. So as we do look at Bitcoin right now, we have kind of bounced off that $100,000 level once again. And as I am discussing this, guys, please remember that this is not financial advice. This is just, I'm a trader, okay? I'm a trader and I'm sharing with you guys my thoughts on the market. And if you do want to trade with me, I do want to share with you guys right now what we have going on BITUNIX. This is the exchange that I use, okay? So if you are a leverage or spot trader, right now you can get a 25% bonus into your futures trading account. You sign up using my link. Like I said, it's the exchange that I use, very comfortable with it. And yeah, so I trade on this every single day and I enjoy the process, the interface. It's a great exchange from my experience, okay? Just make sure it's right for you, where you're located, do your research, due diligence, all of that good stuff. And remember, make the best financial decision for yourselves. Okay, but as we get back into it, all right, now this piece right here coming out from Cointelegraph, talking about the slip for Bitcoin under 100,000. We have bounced off of that and why analysts say Bitcoin is set to drop lower. Here's why. And also, I do have 3 points that I'm going to make at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around to the end, okay? But after we saw that October 10th sell-off, okay, this is something where you look for a lot of people that are hurting right now in the market after hitting that 4-month low. A lot of sellers capitulated. The spot BTC ETF outflows, as we've seen that increase off of exchanges. And now traders are looking at a potential for 88,000 to 95,000 as a potential bottom. Now, my take on that, let's talk about it. Bitcoin, probably the biggest psychological level in crypto is 100K. All right. It's taken years to get there. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it also, it's very much easier to destroy something in one day versus build it. Okay. So it kind of goes down to my mantra in crypto and kind of why I like playing shorts personally. It's much easier to tear down a castle versus put one up. And that's kind of why I get into shorts. And it's not because I'm fudding blockchain, I'm anti-crypto, and I'm just taking a piece and I'm being a big fudder, if you will. I hate that word, but it's just, whatever. But anyways, it's just making the best decisions, right? I'm not going to sit on the outside, hold a bag, and just let everybody else kind of capitulate the market when, clearly we know which direction it's headed in, okay? Now, my other take on all this before we get further into this article, okay, is the fact that, is altcoin season ever going to happen? Are we on that 4-year cyclical trend? Is that how we're going to do this for the third time? Time will tell, okay? I don't have that crystal ball. I'm not sitting here pretending like I know the lottery tickets for tomorrow and the winning numbers, but I'll just tell you guys my thoughts and my take, and you guys can do what's best for you, okay? Because if we are going to see an altcoin season, this is typically how it starts off, right? All the funds come from Bitcoin, and then they flood back into the altcoin market, okay? And that's literally the definition basically on how altcoin season works and plays out, okay? But we did hit 4 months lows, okay? And also, if you do look into the take from Horse, a trader that has followed the chart and suggesting that a bottom could be approaching if 100,000 is proving not to be a trap. Now, that's kind of where I find myself because, this quote from him, if you get a trap at this low, but if not, these are the levels I'm looking toward Bitcoin. You want to see 100,000 get front run because big round numbers like that, if traded, get smoked on the return just like they did on the way up, okay? So liquidation, the heat map from high block showing leveraged long positions at 100,000 are risk of absorption, followed by the relatively thin liquidity until 88K. So you can see that by the brighter bands there on the screen. And as you do look at 88,000, okay, that's going to be at the bottom of your screen. You can see this big trading zone, the big gap in the liquidation levels, and also why it gets a little bit more vibrant once you get closer a little bit above 100,000. So, you know, kind of looking into the market in the 7-day outlook, that's kind of what we're looking at, okay? But also, if you do look at the Wolf of Wall Streets, Scott Melker, posting in a cryptic tweet, noting that Bitcoin has definitely lost the 50 moving average support 4 times in history, okay? And that he notes every time that Bitcoin's price lost this moving average, the price went on to test the 200 moving day average, okay? So as we are $700 above the 50, the 200 MA is sitting at around 55,000 and rising, okay? So that's very interesting, okay? So we'll see if that theory does prevail. But also, this is kind of what I kind of find myself leaning towards as we want to navigate into the conversation that the professional and institutional level entities seeing their portfolios crippled by that October 10th sell-off, basically maybe just panicking and running for the hills, okay? And that's kind of why we may be seeing Tuesday being the overwhelming selling point for Bitcoin markets and why there's so many unknowns right now due to the large firms that, you know, just can't really see where crypto's headed. And quite frankly, they're not cut out to be crypto traders, right? They're used to very strategically and algorithmically, and, you know, everything's basically in some form performance-based, and it's something where you look at prospectus and stuff like that. Crypto doesn't have any of that stuff, right? Yes, we could use TA to our advantage, but in the overwhelming world where we use institutional funds and ETFs and hedge funds and big crypto entities that can literally manipulate any chart, okay, even Bitcoin, that's kind of where you see this potentially being disheartening and shying away for a lot of these large-scale institutional grade investors that have rushed onto the scene, right? We've adopted crypto. Regulation is being up regulation for crypto, okay? From a government level, from a global level, it's something that we haven't seen before. And now all of a sudden, they're getting a little bit panicky. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I told you guys my thoughts and what I'm looking at, but I will remind you of my stance, right? I have been playing shorts. I'm not going to lie about that, being fully transparent. That's kind of where I've been at. That's how I've been making money personally, is by playing shorts in the market, okay? That could change. We might start tomorrow for all I know. In the next 2 weeks, I could be longing everything and their brother in crypto, okay? But time will tell. And I think that the one thing that I do want to hold on to is the $100,000 level in Bitcoin is the biggest psychological barrier and, floor, support, whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it. If you want to look at it staring up, or if you want to look at it looking down on it, that's up to you and your kind of feel on the climate of the blockchain sector as a whole, okay? But that's my thoughts I wanted to share with you guys here in this video. Appreciate you all. Remember, if you do want to start trading with me on BITUNIX, that link is down below in the description. Thank you once more. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys all in the next video. Cheers.